The 10 most redneck states in America. I mean, what is a redneck? Like, what is the definition? Can you even define a redneck, or is it just like a feeling? Like, you see someone and you immediately know that they're a redneck. Is it how they walk, how they talk? Like because I have an idea of it. Like, if I think of a redneck, I'm imagining Cletus from The Simpsons. Cletus, he talks like this. Arlene. I can't even, who I'm talking about, but that's who I think of. So which states would make that list, that top 10 list?
This video brought to you by Mike's Barbecue on Route 32 in Tallahassee. Come on down, we got some great food. That's Mike's Barbecue.
Is there anything wrong with being called a redneck? I mean, for some people, it's a compliment. Like, the neckier you are, the more you're respected. Like this dude. Go on with your bad self, brother. America's full of rednecks. In fact, a recent poll indicated that of all conservatives in America, 90% are rednecks. The rest are lawyers, police officers, and doctors.
Really?
And 0.1% are redneck doctors. JK. In order to determine which states have the most rednecks, we just need to measure redneck things. Typical redneck stereotypes include high school dropouts, folks who live in trailer parks, and people who shop at Walmart.
Really?
We'll use those as our measuring sticks. Of course, we're going to...
So people that shop at Walmart are mostly rednecks? Or is he being like tongue-in-cheek?
hear from lots of people who are going to say, I have a master's degree, but I got a big old boat and spit chew, and I'm probably more redneck than most of my friends. To that, I'd say, good for you, fella. You get a prize.
Okay, so let's grab our camo, throw in a chew, and hop in the truck as we go through America's most redneck states.
We begin our redneck tour of America in a pretty likely place, Oklahoma. Judging on how this state votes every year, you know there's rednecks up and down and all around this funny-looking state. Oklahoma isn't too bad for high school dropouts. It's only the 19th highest. And Oklahoma also has the 19th most trailer parks per capita. But what really gets Oklahoma into the top 10 are the number of Walmarts per capita. In fact, Oklahoma ranks second in America for that. Look at how many Walmarts there are just in Oklahoma City alone.
Wow.
How many Walmarts does a city of 643,648 need anyways? For comparison, the least redneck state in America is Hawaii, where the high school graduation rate's about average, but the number of Walmarts and trailer parks is almost dead last. You can bet that when you're in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, or many of the other backwoods places in the Sooner State, you're going to see rednecks everywhere.
But does Oklahoma count as, is it even in the South? Because when I hear people from Oklahoma talk, they almost sound like Canadian a little bit.
We're going to hop in the truck and head on down to our next most redneck state in America as we pull into the state of Georgia. Of course, if you've ever been to Georgia, you'd know. Outside of the Atlanta metro area, which might as well be its own state, practically the entire state of Georgia is dressed in camo. Georgia has the fourth highest dropout rate, ranks 15th for mobile home parks, and has the 22nd most Walmarts per capita.
Okay.
Did you know the nation's biggest redneck games were held in Dublin, Georgia?
Mappy's right. They even have their own Wikipedia entry.
Wow, there's a redneck games. Almost like a redneck Olympics. What kind of sports do they have?
5,000 people turned out for the first event in 1996. Events included the mud pit belly flop, bobbin for pig's feet, redneck horseshoes, hubcap hurl, and the armpit serenade. So, Mappy, did you name your new baby boy yet?
Yes, we did. His name's Ricky.
Oh, Mappy, you're a total redneck. You have two sons named Ricky and Bobby? Holy crap, Mappy. You've just earned a lot more respect among a bunch of our subscribers. Where's Mrs. Mappy anyways? Why are you watching both of the boys?
She got a job. We needed extra income with 4 mouths to feed now.
All right, well, we're going to have to check on Mrs. Mappy and see what kind of job she got. I can't even imagine.
Our next stop along our neck tour brings us to West Virginia. What? How redneck is America when West Virginia is only 8th? What does that say about our culture in general? Okay, so maybe our methodology is flawed a little bit, because I drive through West Virginia like every few weeks, and I can attest there are some of the most hillbilly people tucked back in them hollers.
Really?
Why is West Virginia only 8th according to our obviously almost right data? Well, what might be surprising is how high West Virginia scored on the graduation rate factor. There's plenty of trailer parks here. West Virginia ranks 6th highest there, but there aren't too many Walmarts though, because there's not a lot of places to put them. Let's call a random person in West Virginia and mess with them for a bit.
Hello,
Hey, is this West Virginia?
yeah, this is
Okay. Hey, I'm doing a YouTube channel about rednecks.
Uh-huh.
Are there a lot of rednecks in West Virginia?
I don't know. That's kind of a silly question.
Are you a redneck?
That's also a silly question.
He's kind of offended, the guy on the phone. Do you reckon he's a redneck? Because, I mean, if you weren't, you would just say no, wouldn't you?
Okay, because I hear there's a lot of rednecks that live in West Virginia. I'm trying to understand if that's true.
Is redneck an offensive word? Is it? Or do people, take pride in being a redneck? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking.
Or not?
And you calling a restaurant and bar to ask those questions?
Yeah, who else am I going to call?
You can call. There's a million people you can call. I'd say you visit West Virginia. You're not going to get anybody to give you a straight answer over the phone.
Okay, should I call another bar?
Call whoever you like. But, West Virginians get offended by being called rednecks. So watch what you say.
Dang, sounds like West Virginia gets a little bit sensitive about being called rednecks. But I bet long-necked, ice-cold bears never broke their hearts.
The way he said weird. Hold on a minute.
I bet long-necked, ice-cold bears never broke their hearts.
This is Mike at Mike's Barbecue again. Did I mention that we got gator?
Oh,
we got some good
man.
gator. Come down and try our gator, and we will throw in some hush puppies. That's Mike's Barbecue on Route 19 in Flat Top.
We're going back down to the south once again,
Oh, man, that
but
was
definitely
funny.
not
That
for
was
the last
funny.
time, as we pull into the very agriculture-friendly state of South Carolina, which is basically tobacco, cotton, and cornfields for a majority of the state. There's one big reason South Carolina's on this list. It starts with M and ends in Obel. This state is also in the top 20 for high school dropouts and number of Walmarts too.
Is it?
If you want to see them, just head outside of a major city and look for a big pile of beer cans. Oh, and bring duct tape. They're out.
Can I check your receipt? Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Mrs. Mappy, you got a job at Walmart?
This video is kind of weird, but weird in a good way. What is this? This whole Mappy situation?
I didn't have any experience since I've been popping out kids left and right, so I had to take something. This is definitely beneath me.
First of all, Karen Mappy, there's nothing wrong with working at Walmart. In fact, it's the biggest employer in nearly half of all U.S. states. And hey, at least you're contributing to your family's take-home pay. You should be proud.
Think I'll make enough to buy some new shoes?
Yes, Mrs. Mappy, I think you're going to be delighted with your paycheck when this video's over with. Man, I hope she doesn't freak out when she realizes how much taxes and Social Security is coming out of her teeny paycheck. But for now, it's time to move on.
Wyoming.
We're heading to our next most redneck state in America, Wyoming. There's only about 700,000 people in Wyoming, and I'd bet like 690,000 of them are some shade of neck.
Wow, man, there's literally nothing on either side of this road. It doesn't even look like this is farmland. Is this farmland? It just looks pretty barren.
The data backs up that assumption. Wyoming's redneck indicators are all in the red, and this state ranks especially high in number of trailer parks per capita, at the 6th highest. What's the difference between a redneck and a cowboy? Perhaps Wyoming is the melting pot of both, where each can roam as one. Of course, farming and ranching are a big part of the Wyoming culture, as are rodeos. Our next stop along our redneck tour of America brings us
Alabama.
number 5. And where else? The state of Alabama. This isn't a shocker, is it, folks?
By the way, guys, if you disagree with the states on this list, if you think, there's another state that hasn't been put on this list, let me know why, because I genuinely don't know. If I had to guess, I'm trying to think of what I would have put as number 1, maybe. What would be number 1? I would have put maybe, oh God, I don't know. I actually don't know Georgia, but Georgia's it's already lower on the list.
Here in Alabama, the redneck quotient is quite high. Alabama ranks 19th for dropouts, 5th for mobile home parks, and has the 8th most Walmarts in the entire country. In fact, there's 145 Walmarts in Alabama alone. Woo-wee, Alabama!
That's a lot.
But we didn't need stereotypical statistics to tell us this place is redneck. After all, practically every neck in the backwoods of Alabama has Mountain Dew in his veins at some point in the day.
Mountain Dew! Mountain Dew will tickle your innards cause there's a bang in every bottle. Yahoo! Mountain Dew! Now he shoots off the cup, gets more than enough after nipping at that good old Mountain Dew.
There's a NASCAR track, great fishing and hunting, and there's a TV show called the Redneck Housewives of Alabama here. Sort of a knockoff of Louisiana-based Duck Dynasty, this show chronicles the wives of redneck men who like to get stuck in mud. Who's our number 4 most
Wow, the Redneck Wives of Alabama. That sounds like a funny show to watch, to be fair.
redneck state in all of America? Louisiana is. Of course Louisiana's on this list. Pelican State's full of oil-working, crawfish-eating, bird-shooting, get your truck stuck in the mud rednecks. Statistically, Louisiana is in the top 10 in every category we measured. 10th for Walmarts, 8th for mobile home parks, and 6th for number of high school dropouts in all of America. Good for them, except the dropout part. Stay in school, kids.
Our dad says if we don't go to school, we'll end up like our Uncle Marty watching NASCAR in his deer stand all day.
Yeah, and he eats raccoons that he runs over with his truck.
Yeah, those things are bad, kids. Nobody should do those things at all, except on your birthday. Here's an interesting poll we conducted. We asked 2 Louisianans, when you're in Louisiana, are you more likely to see somebody in a Buick or somebody with an Audi? The answer would...
An Audi. Oh, a belly button. I was thinking, what is an Audi? Like, aside from, have you guys seen that show Severance on TV? Like, the Audis there?
Is Audis by a landslide. Okay, we're down to our last 3.
Missouri.
These shouldn't be hard to guess. Our next most redneck state in America is Missouri. Although we can imagine there's a bunch of rednecks in Missouri who are going to stop the video right here because they didn't win. Sorry, Missouri rednecks. Fact is, if you're not a redneck, you just don't fit in Missouri.
Really?
If you've ever seen somebody wearing a coonskin cap to church, you were probably in Missouri. The show me how to catch a catfish when I'm 6-month-old state just ekes redneckism. Just about everyone here.
6 months old. I'm just imagining a 6-month-old kid with a fishing rod, just like, Daddy, look at me.
Hunts, and dads pull their kids out of school on the opening day of deer season. Kansas City, Missouri was named as the 2nd most redneck city in the entire country. In fact, here's City Hall in Kansas City, Missouri, where the rednecks meet to make important legislative decisions. Just kidding, rednecks don't have laws. Okay, so who's our 2nd most redneck state in America? Arkansas. What? How is Arkansas not atop this list? Well, according to our always accurate data, Arkansas is just a little less redneck than our winner. Of course, Arkansas ranks 1st in America for number of Walmarts per capita. Bentonville, Arkansas is home to Walmart's headquarters. And the number of trailer parks is 5th highest in the US too. Fact is, there's some real hardworking peeps in the natural state, and we should commend them as such.
I just got my first paycheck. It's for $52.75. Is that a lot?
Yeah, that's a lot, Mrs. Mappy. Good for you. That'll buy a lot of shoes. Mappy will be so proud of you.
$52? That won't even buy a week's worth of diapers for Ricky. Oh, really, Mappy? You were out fishing while I was dealing with angry customers who were trying to steal from the self-checkout line?
Okay, you two, stop bickering. I know this is a video about rednecks, but come on. I have a feeling this isn't over. Okay, so where's our most redneck state in America?
Mississippi. Okay, I definitely forgot about some of these states. Yeah, Ole Miss and all that.
Okay. Of course, Mississippi. The Camo State ranks really high in all 3 categories. It has the 8th highest dropout rate, is 3rd in mobile home parks, and 3rd in number of Walmarts per capita. It wasn't even close. The dropout rate here is about 25% and 15%
25% drop out. That's really high.
of all homes in Mississippi are of the mobile variety. Okay, so how'd we do? Well, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which everyone agrees is the Bible of literature, a redneck is a white person who lives in a small southern town who typically has a working class job and who is seen by others as being uneducated. Sounds like all the states we just talked about, doesn't it? And even the Mappy family, too. Of course, rednecks in those states, we're just kidding around. We love hardworking blue-collar peeps. Don't get your camo panties all wound up, okay? Hope you were entertained and you learned something today.
Man.
We did.
Is that a camel? Okay, nobody's riding it. Wow, very interesting video. It's given me an insight into, like, you know, redneck culture a little bit more, because, you know, it's not something that exists in the UK. And, you know, part of me is actually quite curious about what it's like, you know, to be a redneck. You know, what do they do on a day-to-day? Like, what do they do for fun? Like, the redneck games looked hilarious, like the tractor racing. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.